Of all the revelations I've seen about Meghan Markle recently, the one from the Harper's Bazaar interview.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that moment alone, right? The utter delusion of this person.
Yeah, it's a very grand and frankly unnecessary introduction. You know, when you particularly consider, and the many times I met Harry, he never wanted to be, the Duke of Sussex or Prince. He just was like, call me Harry. But of course, with Meghan, it's not the same, and she capitalizes on that title.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have been at the center of one of the most sensational royal dramas in recent history. Their journey from the royal family to a life of independence has captivated millions. But what if everything we thought we knew about their children, Archie and Lilibet, is a lie? New shocking revelations have surfaced, suggesting that the true biological parents of these children might not be who we've been led to believe. As the world questions the legitimacy of their royal family story, we are about to expose hidden truths that could shake the monarchy to its very core. For years, Meghan and Harry's lives have been under intense public scrutiny, from their romantic relationship to their decision to step away from royal duties. But as more details surface, the story takes an even darker turn. One woman, who claims to be the biological mother of both Archie and Lilibet, has come forward with irrefutable evidence, clinic records, DNA documentation, and even transport logs that suggest she was erased from the royal narrative entirely. Why would the palace go to such lengths to conceal this truth? And what does this mean for the future of the British monarchy? As Meghan's pregnancies with Archie and Lilibet unfolded, there were numerous discrepancies that raised suspicions.
Meghan, that stupid program on Netflix, failed to rank among Netflix's top 300 most watched titles between January and June. The New York Post, confirmed Markle's 8-part series ranked 383rd with just 5.3 million views since it debuted on March 4th. It's crazy how low that was. Harry's show Polo, also on Netflix, was watched by only 500,000 people. It's at number 3,436. Losers, enjoy Montecito.
One of the most glaring oddities was the skin color of Meghan's belly during her pregnancy. Typically, a pregnant belly will lighten or stay the same shade as it stretches, but in Meghan's case, her belly appeared several shades darker. This prompted questions. If Meghan was indeed pregnant with Archie and Lilibet, why did these physical inconsistencies arise? If everything about the pregnancies was straightforward, why was the palace scrambling to protect their story? Even more troubling, the timeline surrounding Meghan's pregnancies kept falling apart when scrutinized. There were gaps, conflicting reports, and oddities that couldn't be explained away. Why was legal protection suddenly being arranged for these children? Why was the palace acting nervous instead of calm when faced with these growing questions? As these questions mount, it's clear that Prince Harry is feeling the pressure. Far from the carefree, emotional prince we once saw, Harry is now reportedly barely holding it together. Close friends say he spends sleepless nights pacing through the dark, glued to his screens, anxiously awaiting the next revelation. This is a far cry from the man who once embraced his emotional openness, and it's evident that the weight of this growing scandal is taking a heavy toll on him. But amidst all the public focus on Meghan and Harry, there's one name that has remained conspicuously absent from the royal narrative, a woman who claims to be the real biological mother of Archie and Lilibet. For years, she has been buried under NDAs and sealed documents, silenced by legal pressure. Now, she is speaking out, determined to bring the truth to light. Her name is DL, and according to her, she is the one who gave birth to both royal children. She has a paper trail, clinic records, transport notes, and DNA documentation that proves she was erased from the royal story. DL claims that once she gave birth to Archie and Lilibet, she was entirely cut off. No follow-up care, no acknowledgement, and no support. The children were taken from her, and she was removed from the public record as if she never existed. According to DL, this wasn't a simple case of mismanagement. It was a deliberate and calculated effort to maintain a carefully constructed narrative for Meghan and Harry, one that portrayed them as the biological parents. If DL's claim is true, the fairy tale image that the royal family has built around Meghan and Harry is not based on truth, but on silence. In DL's account, secrecy was woven into the fabric of the story from day one. At first, the arrangement seemed to be nothing more than a quiet, private matter, exactly the kind of thing that wealthy families often do when they want to protect their privacy. But what was sold as privacy and protection soon became a tool for complete control. A middleman was brought in, promising confidentiality, protection, and professionalism sensationalism. DL's role was kept secret, and the details surrounding the births were obscured to the point where no one could ever connect the dots. But once the children were introduced to the world, the narrative shifted dramatically. DL was erased, and the fairy tale story of Meghan and Harry's parenthood was put in its place. The birth announcements, the photos, and the carefully staged moments were all designed to create the perfect image of a glowing royal couple with their newborn child. But DL was left out of the picture entirely.
She is not a well person. She was over in Paris for the Balenciaga fashion show, going by the location where Princess Diana died. And here's the video.
One of the most shocking claims DL makes is that her name was quietly erased from Archie's birth certificate. According to her, this wasn't just a clerical error, it was a deliberate act to remove any trace of her from the public record. Meghan and Harry's names were left, but DL's name was removed entirely, leaving the world to believe that they were the biological parents. This erasure wasn't an accident. DL asserts it was a calculated decision meant to erase any connection between her and the children, and to ensure that the royal family's story remained untarnished. Meghan, she claims, was complicit in this process. The clinic where the births took place was shrouded in secrecy, with rotating doctors and staff who had no idea who the true parents were. The entire operation felt less like a medical process and more like a covert operation. The lack of transparency was intentional, DL insists. Every visit to the clinic was engineered to leave no trace behind, and it wasn't just about the birth certificates. DL also claims that the royal family's handling of Meghan's pregnancies was nothing short of a performance. The public was shown an image of Meghan looking radiant and healthy, standing in high heels just days after giving birth. But DL says the child presented to the world was already weeks old. The timing of the birth announcements and the inconsistencies between statements from the palace only added to the confusion. When Meghan appeared just days after giving birth, looking flawless with no visible exhaustion or swelling, it raised eyebrows. Was this truly a royal birth, or was it something else entirely?
I agree with you. They are two very polarizing individuals, and their only commercial success in the States was Spare and the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary, both of those entities tearing apart the British royal family. When you look at Live to Lead or Heart of Invictus, commercial flops here in the States. So I do think that their new PR advisors are telling them, why did people fall in love with you in the first place?
According to DL, it was all part of the performance. The palace crafted an image of a glowing, freshly delivered royal mother while carefully hiding the true story behind the scenes. But the truth, DL believes, is far different. The child had already been born weeks earlier, and the palace's statements about Meghan's delivery were part of a larger effort to keep the public in the dark. The birth wasn't just a private moment, it was part of an elaborate scheme to control the narrative. And as DL watched this unfold, she knew she wasn't part of the story. She was part of the cover-up. The cover-up didn't end with Archie's birth. DL claims that the same tactics were used when Lilibet was born. Meghan's name was quietly removed from Archie's birth certificate months after the public scrutiny had faded, with the official explanation being clerical adjustments. But DL insists this wasn't a simple mistake. It was part of a larger strategy to close any legal openings and ensure that Meghan's name was erased from history. DL kept everything: emails, messages, appointment logs, travel receipts, contracts, NDAs, timestamps. At the time, she thought she was just protecting herself, but now these documents may be the key to unraveling the entire royal family narrative. According to insiders who have seen portions of the documents, they are alarming. One source claimed that if even one of these documents is real, it could bring the monarchy to its knees. But the most disturbing part of DL's story is the claim that the records surrounding the births of Archie and Lilibet were entirely erased. These records weren't lost, they were rewritten and replaced with
in love with you, so they've created this faux royal tour, so they get those visuals and those, that is marketing material that they can use going forward to present themselves as at least associated with the royal family, which is their really only claim to fame. They need that so that they can try to develop this lifestyle brand in American Riviera Orchard and try to get people interested in this content that's coming up on Netflix, where Netflix has again insisted that they are in front of the camera.
Cleaner version of events, one that erased DL entirely. This was a deliberate effort to cover up the truth and create a narrative that fit the royal family's preferred storyline. If DL's evidence is genuine, the consequences consequences for the monarchy could be far-reaching. Succession laws, legal protocols, and royal documentation are all based on verification and transparency. Any tampering with these records could set off a constitutional crisis that threatens to undermine the entire institution. The royal family's carefully curated image would be destroyed. If DL can prove her claims, this story will go beyond scandal. It could trigger a legal and political firestorm. The monarchy's legitimacy would be questioned, and the UK could face a constitutional crisis. Succession laws are rigid, and any deviation from them would have serious consequences. If the records were altered, backdated, or adjusted to fit a cleaner narrative, the monarchy would face not just public backlash, but legal scrutiny from oversight bodies, committees, and possibly even Parliament. As this crisis unfolds, it's clear that Prince Harry is feeling the weight of these revelations. Sources say he's emotionally exhausted, pacing through sleepless nights, avoiding friends and public appearances. The man who once fought for privacy now finds himself in the middle of a secret that is slowly unraveling. Those close to him say Harry is grappling with the secrecy surrounding his children's birth, and the thought that the royal family's carefully curated image may have been built on lies is taking a heavy toll on him.
The schedules of the royal family, as you know from covering them for so long, they're extremely carefully planned.
Well, they're meant to be.
So they
not
do,
always.
Yeah, it doesn't always work, but historically they do it so they don't overlap each other.
Yeah.
So Charles will have his week where this is announced. Kate will do her week, whatever. If you have two people who you have no idea what they're doing, right, and they're just planning their own things to try and steal attention, again, it comes back to my thing. If you're a monarchist like me and you believe in the royal family, you believe it's a massive plus for this country.
In the background, DL is preparing to step forward with her full story. Legal teams are ready, documents are organized, and sources close to her claim she is determined to reveal the truth once and for all. She is not speaking out of emotion, she's speaking out of necessity. The silence she once endured is now a shield, and she is ready to reclaim her story. Rumors of a televised interview have already begun to circulate. DL is reportedly planning to sit down with a journalist, laying out every detail exactly as she believes it happened. This is her chance to set the record straight, and she's ready to do so in a way that will leave no room for doubt. If DL's story is true, this won't just be another royal scandal, it will be a full-blown constitutional crisis. The monarchy's entire foundation could be shaken to its core, and the public's faith in the royal family could be irreparably damaged. As Meghan retreats inward and Harry struggles with the weight of the truth, DL stands ready to step into the light. The truth about Archie and Lilibet's real parents may soon be revealed, and the monarchy's fate hangs in the balance.